That's the first time we captured that, right?
There we go.
Yeah, all right. The official way to sync everything up here on Manufacturing Happy Hour with special co-host Jake Hall. I'm Chris Luecke, host of Manufacturing Happy Hour, and we're going to start in the fashion of this show, which means if we were hanging out in your home turf of Atlanta, where would that be?
I would say we'd be at Sweetwater.
Sweetwater.
So Sweetwater's come a little
choice.
mainstream. Their tagline is "Don't float the mainstream," so it's a little ironic that they're now on the Delta flights and kind of all over the place. But back when I was just turning 21, they weren't super mainstream, and you go to their brewery and it's a really cool setup. I'd say these days my favorite beer is like a Tropicalia from Creature Comforts down in Athens. It's a good one.
A good choice as well.
Absolutely. So that's probably where we'd be, Sweetwater, or if we went to Athens, maybe Creature Comforts.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Let's say we're in Athens at Creature Comforts.
Sure.
And we're hanging out there and someone asks, what does Mujin do? How do you answer that as if you're having some craft beers with someone?
Sure, yeah. I'd start with we're really a robotics technology company. So we're not necessarily just a product company that says, here's our controller, Mr. Customer, Mr. Distributor, Mr. Integrator, go figure out how to use it. Here's the instruction manual. We're not really just a solution provider. We're somewhere in the middle, right? So we're adding some capability to robotics. We're doing robotics in a different way. It's not the traditional way of programming the waypoints and the workflows with someone on each application, but rather giving it more autonomy, which is opening up new applications in the warehouse space, which is why we're here at the AMRL, the logistics part.
One of the things that I always looked at it as, you reduce the risk when it comes to the deployment of situations. There are a lot of times if a systems integrator or end user at one point in time wanted to do some sort of depalletization or palletization system, they would have to go out and buy all the individual components. And then they would have to spend their time developing the infrastructure and the communication to make sure that product A, product B, product C, product D all worked together. In a sense, you've kind of gone out ahead of time and developed those communication solutions. So when a systems integrator or a partner wants to deploy that, a lot of the hard work up front has been reduced.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like a science project when you put it that way, right? You've got all these disparate systems, and you're trying to make 3D vision and force torque sensing and all of these, difficult things to do work together within an application, within a specific workflow. We have the robotics platform, really an intelligent robot controller that does all that for you, right? Works with force torque sensing, works with vision. We do all the hard algorithm level work so that you as a partner or as a customer can benefit from the more application level work that the robots are doing.
So let's step back a decade.
Sure.
About when you kind of got going in the automation space. You worked for a distributor, you worked for a manufacturer, you're at Mujin. How did you get started in this industry?
Yeah, sure.
And what have you learned along the way?
Yeah, I started in this industry at a high-tech automation distributor, designing mechanical structures, aluminum extrusion structures, started to work with vision systems, 2D vision systems, 3D vision systems, got to really be the lead on some robotic stuff with companies like Epson and did some stuff with UR.
Yeah.
And I remember these problems, right, having to try to figure out how do I get this 3D profiler on the end of this arm and make it go over this area where a bolt's supposed to be, and now I got to do the inspection, and it would take weeks, if not months, to just get to the point of eureka. We think we've solved the problem in a reliable way, and so the contrast of what I'm seeing here, and really one of the big reasons that I joined, was I remember these pain points as the engineer trying to solve these challenges, and seeing the big contrast between trying to do all these different things on different software and get it to work together versus one platform, a day later, and it's like, look, it's doing the thing that it didn't do yesterday. It never did this application, and now it's doing it. So it's been a whirlwind. And in the middle there between high-tech automation distributor and Mujin, I learned a lot about the sales side.
Yeah.
Helped Mir deploy their distributor and integrator channel across the East Coast here.
And that's how we actually first met, because
exactly.
I was working for a distributor that sold mobile industrial robots at the time, and that's where, we've both grown on to do more things in the industry, but it's amazing how, there's always that cross relationship that happens at some point.
It's a small world, right?
It is.
It's a very small industry that hopefully is growing and growing. We have influencers now, so that's nice to see. We'll hopefully see that grow too.
Well, I wanna tap into your influence a little bit, right? You've been in this industry a little while. What is maybe let's say a bold prediction you have for the industry in the near future? Or maybe a technology or application you're bullish on?
Yeah, sure. I would say, and I've been asked this on the mobile robot side before, like what's happening next, and a lot of people go to kind of the artificial intelligence, machine learning aspect. But what I used to say, and what I still think is kind of my prediction, is the form factors are going to change. Right, we're going to start to see more specific solutions to problems that haven't been solved yet. So, as a good example of things working together, like mobile robots and robot arms, like truck loading, truck unloading, kind of the edge of the warehouse that really hasn't been automated quite yet in a production environment. That's what's coming next, and really outside of the middle of the warehouse where the ASRS systems live, and you have to have tens of millions of dollars to go and invest in something like that. It's between there and the doors that is going to drastically change over the next decade, and robots will become more ubiquitous within the warehouse.
I would even add on to that where I think I first saw a Mujin demo would have been at PAC Expo in Las Vegas last year sometime. I think that's when I first saw it.
That was our coming out party. That was our first trade show in the U.S.
That was your first trade show. And then
it's not that long ago, all things considered.
That's right.
And so you guys have a much smaller booth, obviously, with being at AMRL. But the one thing I've noticed about is the fluidity of the robot is dramatically improved, and we always, people ask what's next, but I always say what's here.
Yeah.
And because the current adoption of solutions like this is so minimal right now, I think it's one of those things is the solutions are already here. It's just that it's going to take companies a while to adopt them,
right.
And the processes that you're doing are becoming even more streamlined than they were before. And I think a lot of that has to do with now we're seeing a lot more partners, join and work with Mujin. Can you talk more about your partnership deployment? So you mentioned that you're not a systems integrator, but you're working with the companies to help them deploy the solution with the tools that you've created. Can you dive more into what that partnership looks like?
Sure, absolutely. Just a note from what you said earlier. I saw something on LinkedIn the other day. I can't cite who it was. I can't remember, but they said something like only 2% of the jobs that could be automated today in the warehouse are currently automated. We still have that 98% to go.
Massive gap.
And it's not because the technology is not there. It's the ones that can be automated right now, right? And it's taking into account technologies like ours, right? In terms of partners, we are working with a lot of different types of partners. I'd say really on the material handling or the logistics world, there's companies that sell large sortation systems, ASRS, shuttle systems, those types of things that work really well with case picking and each picking for order filling, but they don't necessarily have the robotics experience, right? They're focused on the conveyor and the ASRS solutions. So we partner with those types of folks to build our robotics platform into the fold there. And we also are working with a lot of traditional robotics companies that have sold robots into manufacturing for decades, and are starting to see this new opportunity in the warehouse, but don't necessarily have the expertise, the technology, whatever it is, to solve the challenge of something like mixed case depalletizing, which we're showing today. So we bring that capability to them and partner with them at that level.
Well, we appreciate you taking us through some of your predictions, some of the things you're focused on. I like the what's here approach that you took and you piggybacked off of. 98% is still a long way to go. So we've got our work cut out for us, and we appreciate you giving some insights to us on the topic.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me, and there's a lot of work to do. We won't be bored over the next few years.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.